Legend of Total War here, and today we've got a Rating Your Doomstack video covering Drazoath the Ashen with a Kadai Destroyer Doomstack. So we've got 16 of these units with a few heroes. This is pretty much maxed out. I don't think you can get it really any stronger than that. There's a few tiers of experience here missing, but at least you've got them all minimum rank 7, so they've got their red line buffs from that. The Hellforge unit upgrades, we've got barrier hit points, missile block chance, perfect vigor, unbreakable missile resistance. Those are, in my opinion, all the best ones for the Kadai Destroyers. If we have a look over here, we can see we've got 55% physical resistance, 5% ward save, and various other buffs over here. So we've got 60% base physical resistance, but thanks to the Oath of Contempt, we can pop it up to an additional 70%. Or up to 70%, but then you've also got Blazing Body over here, so you can get them up to 80% if they, stay in combat for long enough there. We're going up against 4 armies, 3 of which belong to Reichland, and 1 of which belongs to Bretonnia. Having a look at this, I don't think there's that many units here with magical attacks, which is one of the main reasons for having these guys here, because they're on Lamassu mounts. Yeah, there's not too many magical, there's a little bit. So that is something to consider here. Alright, let's jump in and see what we can do. Test it out. Because what I'm thinking about here is whether or not to send in the Demon Smith Sorcerers to just like hover above these guys. Because that's what you would normally use them for. Right? But there's not that many magical attacks. And what's going to end up happening is all of the missile units are going to target the Demon Smith Sorcerers, not the Kadai Destroyers. And we want to test out the Kadai Destroyers. So, if this was a battle where there was a lot of magical attacks, well, Karl Franz will have it, won't he? That being said as well, okay, what if we do this? Recognize that that's what you should do, okay? Obviously, use these guys here to strip away the magical attacks. That's what you should do. But in this battle here, in order to test out the Kadai Destroyers to see how well they perform, because the Auto Resolve gave us an Auto Resolve victory, we'll give our units a little bit of a handicap. And I'll only bring them over here if we start to struggle. See if these guys can handle it even without those supporting units. But with recognizing that we absolutely should do that, it would make them stronger. Also, having Drazoath the Ashen and the other guys here pop down Ash Storm would definitely help them out because they all do flaming attacks, especially with the Banner of Eternal Flame. So not doing that is being stupid, but again, we're here to test out these units specifically with all these buffs. Also, Drazoath the Ashen is definitely the right Legendary Lord to use for this army, since he provides, I think, 25% reduced upkeep cost, which for the Chaos Dwarves isn't a huge issue since their money in the late stages of the campaign is pretty damn good. And also 15% physical resistance, and that's really the key point here, especially when you're using a Demon Smith Sorcerer. Another benefit that these guys here have is they've got the Reforge ability, so that's a decent heal ability, but you only get 2 uses of it per Demon Smith Sorcerer. One thing that you could do is a little bit of an actually it's definitely an exploit. You could steal a hero from another faction. So the 2 that I'm thinking of, you either steal a Life Wizard, obviously. Life Magic plus single entities is just a recipe for victory. But getting an alliance with a faction that has access to a Life Wizard is a little bit iffy playing as Chaos Dwarves. The other option is getting a Exalted Hero of Nurgle from a Warriors of Chaos faction, which that is very much viable to do. Now you might also be thinking, oh, how do you steal a hero from another faction? It's a little bit complex, but the general gist, we're just waiting for the enemy reinforcements to arrive. The general gist of it is you get a military alliance with the faction you want to steal a hero, you borrow the army that has the hero attached, you get that hero at least up to rank 20 so that it becomes immortal. Once it becomes immortal, you go into a battle and get it wounded in that fight. And what ends up happening is it pulls it out of that army so that when you give the army back to the faction you borrowed it from, you don't have to actually return the hero. It ends up in your pool, recruitment pool, essentially permanently, and you can just attach it into your armies. This is something that we've covered before, but a lot of people have been asking about how to steal heroes. I believe the exploit still does work. Okay, so reinforcements have arrived. Let's charge in. Those mortars aren't doing anything. Okay, here comes Karl Franz. Maybe just... Okay, no, let's keep going. So yeah, if we have a look, they should have the... Yep, 65% physical resistance. Oh, he's doing this. He's going after them. Okay, what we'll do is I'll just withdraw them from the battlefield. Out of sight, out of mind. I obviously can't hide them because they're flying. Now, of course, I would not normally do that. I reckon those three there would actually beat Karl Franz. These guys here are unbreakable, so the loss of those heroes means absolutely nothing. Because, yeah, the thing is with this Doom stack is that it's so expensive that I want to be able to win this battle with the dumbest strategy ever. Just go in there and click, fight, and if they can manage to win, great. But we'll see. Ah, this guy got discovered. I'll get him out of here. Yeah, looks like you gotta get out of here as well. Karl Franz didn't get the memo. We're testing this stuff out here. So what are these? Royal Pegasus Knights. Magical attacks. We need to focus on getting rid of them. They'll do a lot of damage. At the moment, they've barely even penetrated our barrier. Try to keep all of our guys together so we get those nice buffs. Alright, the best way to do that is just get them all to target one specific unit. Rather than give move orders, they kind of get derpy. It's better to give attack orders. Obviously, we've also got these army abilities here, which we could use, but I just don't feel like we need to. I mean, they've barely even done a scratch on us. Don't forget as well, the longer we're in combat, the more that blazing body is going to increase. And then, yeah, we really only need to worry about... Oh, he still hasn't. Just have to worry about the magical attacks. Decent combat stats here as well. Also, Blazing Body provides melee damage reflection. So, as they're dishing damage to us, they're getting it dealt straight back to them. The only thing I got to do here, because they will eventually just spread out, just keep telling them, no, attack at a central target, stay close together, so that we can get all these buffs. You might also think as well, it would be better to spread out to take out the missile units. Yes and no. If they spread out, they're going to lose the buffs. And the thing is, these missile units here aren't really doing that much anyway. If they had magic armor-piercing missiles, like if they were Sisters of Avalon, then yeah, maybe I'd want to do that. But since it's just these ones here, there's just nothing to be concerned about. They're not going to penetrate anything. Okay, Karl Franz has landed. Since he's got magic attacks, we should focus on getting rid of him, although they seem to be doing just fine. Don't feel like I need to do the Armor of Contempt. They're just not even scratching us. Also need to point out, it is of course on very hard battle difficulty. That one there's lost a bit of health. And Karl Franz went down real quick. So their ability to take out single entity heroes is not a problem. And I think that's what one of the key distinctions with the Kadai Destroyer as opposed to the Kadai Fireborn. The Kadai Fireborn's not great against single entities. Also, with that particular Doomstack, I made sure to give them proper support. I'm not doing it this time. They just don't need it. Look at that. Getting shot. They're getting through our barrier just slightly. Alright, we've got the Green Knight over there. I'm pretty sure he's got magical attacks. Try to focus on him. Karl Franz is gone now, right? Thought I saw him get wounded. Easy way to check. Yeah, he's gone. Those mortars are actually kind of helping us out by clearing out infantry. But I can't really justify beelining over there to take them out. You know, we don't need any help. But it's just AI stupid enough to use mortars against single entities. What they should do is just not use them at all. That's it, just keep them all close together. We're not taking any serious damage. And you know, if the Demon Smiths had hung around, we could have healed that quite easily. Let's speed this up. This battle's a foregone conclusion, I think. Yeah, as long as we keep them together, they just can't do much. Those do magical attacks, but nothing that I need to be concerned about. Because they're mainly good against infantry. Reichland's got army lost. Just need to get rid of Bretonnian forces. Now this here wasn't the toughest 4 armies that we've ever seen to go up against. There's a fair few low tier units, not too many magic attacks. Although if they did have magic attacks, I would have used a Lamasu. Just kept it in amongst them, strip them off them. So although we didn't go up against a lot of magical attacks, I'd be hard pressed to see what army that the AI could bring that would be able to deal with this. Let's just say you went up against a Rite of Primeval Glory army. Most of those units, actually no, all of those units do physical damage. So that's not going to do much to us. Demon armies. Most demon units don't really get this strong. And also the demon factions don't ever really become a massive threat. So there's very few factions that I think you really need to worry about going up against this. You know, if you've maxed it out this much. Obviously, if you've just recruited a fresh Kadai Destroyer and it's relatively early in your campaign, it's probably not going to perform anywhere near this well. Probably scored a close victory because I withdrew all those heroes. You know, the battle didn't take very long. So they're able to dish out damage fairly quickly. It's something that you want out of your Doomstacks. You don't want to be sitting there for 40 minutes in every battle. But all these guys here, they got good amount of damage output. Alright, so let's get to sort of the actual rating of it. Obviously it's super strong, essentially top marks in that regard. You'd be hard pressed to get a stronger army out of the Chaos Dwarfs. Except for maybe the Bull Centaur Render Doomstack. I think that's probably the best Doomstack that the Chaos Dwarves have to offer. In terms of ease of use, super easy use. Didn't need to do any serious tactics, just send them in to go kill. Didn't even need the support units. I appreciate the support units being there. You know, this guy here for the campaign movement range, these here for the support spells and the healing, and the magic magic attack stripping, and Drazoath the Ashen just for all the buffs. For sure. And of course you could always use him with his Flames of Asgore to get rid of any missile units, so that wouldn't really even be a concern anyway. So very easy to use this. The only way that this loses points is it's not really that practical because the AI doesn't usually field stupidly strong armies except for endgame crisis. Basically, think of it like this. This is the kind of army that you would build to deal with an endgame crisis. So let's just say the Vampire endgame crisis is triggered. This would sort that out. There's basically no amount of armies that they could send at you that just wouldn't be able to just shrug aside. All the flaming attacks, strip them of all their magical weapons, they just wouldn't be able to do anything to him. They could send all 20 of their armies at you in a turn, you'd just destroy them all. So you can get rid of an entire endgame crisis in one turn. If the Wood Elves come at you, that actually might be a little bit more of a concern due to even... Depends on how many missile magical attacks they send at you, because you're not going to be able to strip that so easily. That actually could be a little bit of concern. Which is what the Bull Centaur Renders actually went up against. But yeah, most other armies are just... Yeah, it'd be reasonably practical. So I'd only build this if I was going up against an endgame crisis. If you don't have the endgame crisis enabled or don't have it as too much of a local concern, I probably wouldn't worry too much about recruiting this. You could just go with the regular Kadai Fireborn Doomstack with him, or just build whatever army you want. In terms of what Drazoath the Ashen is doing for the army, like I said, he's reducing their upkeep cost by 25% and 15% extra physical resistance. You could totally do this with another legendary lord, but Drazoath the Ashen is the best one for it. Anyway, I really appreciate this one here being sent in because this is probably one of the more time-consuming armies to build due to getting enough armaments to actually build this, because you get a tier 5 building and then also get the armaments. And it's essentially perfected because you got all the right banners in here as well. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the Kadai Destroyer Doomstack. I don't think it's something that people are going to rush to go make in the campaign, but you can definitely recognize that this is stupidly strong. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time. Later, guys.